Hello, hello, everybody. It might just be us two right now, but all you guys will be coming in. Steph, how are we doing?
We're doing good. I can't believe it's already week 7. It doesn't even, it's so crazy.
I know I was looking at college football because college football is always like a week ahead, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, that's basically college football is over halfway, and then NFL in basically 2 weeks will be cross the halfway mark.
I know.
So while we wait for people to kind of funnel in, what are your biggest takeaways or maybe surprises? Anything like as far as NFL season goes that has just kind of caught your eye?
I feel like this season, there's a lot more. This isn't proper English. There's a lot of bad teams, more than usual. And I don't know if that's just because we have this generational talent coming in, if it's just because I think some of these teams were kind of negligent with what they did in the preseason. But it seems like there is quite a few very bad teams. Like the margin in between the good teams and the bad teams is quite large.
Yeah, it seems like this year, and maybe this is just like a fallout of like I still think about like the Patriots from years past, and like
Yeah.
that's now it's like really far away with like Tom Brady and everything. But
Yeah.
I don't know if we necessarily also have like a team to beat. Do you feel like that's accurate, or do you think that's actually the Niners now?
Yeah, I feel like every team is beatable. Whereas sometimes, in the past, we've had these teams where it's like, crap, they're a powerhouse. It's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah.
But I feel like all these teams are beatable.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I mean, the Niners to me, like to start the season, I'm like they're beatable, and then like 4 or 5 weeks in, I'm like, oh shit, like maybe they're legit. Purdy's like the real deal. But then we saw what happened yesterday, and now I feel like I'm back to where I was.
I know. And it feels like, and I talked about this a little bit today with some of my guests. I can't tell, is Purdy going to come back down to earth very fast and this is going to be like to stay? Or is it
Yeah,
just, because again, you're allowed to have a bad game that happens. But it'll be interesting to see moving forward now that we know that he's not, this almighty quarterback that
right.
everyone kind of, he was looking a little bit more like a 7th rounder.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was a matter of time, and it was a little alarming how he played without his guys. But
Yeah.
you'll assume that those, CMC will be back and
Right.
Debo will be back. So before we hop on into the game, the last thing I wanted to ask you, how are your fantasy teams doing and how are your best ball teams doing? Do you have like a few that you're like, all right,
Yeah, I next year I will finally be the year that I cut back on some teams. It is just this year with the injuries, probably my worst fantasy year I think to date. I have some teams that are doing fantastic. Have some dynasty teams that will be definitely drafting Caleb. Best ball seems to be just the best bet. It's too hard to manage them. Like I can't
it
have all
is.
these teams and I can't keep up when you look at them and they're just the injury bug got me very bad this year.
Yeah, it's almost like 10 best ball leagues is like the equivalent of like one
Yeah.
season long or something like that, right? Like
Yeah.
the draft happens, and now you can just automate the draft too.
Yeah.
I didn't even do that this year, where you can do your rankings and things like that, which can be hard if you're trying to stack and
Right.
play on the fly. But I do find it cool where you could do that, play $5 flyers and just
Right.
hit the board or whatever. But yeah, it's just I'm in 2 leagues season long, and like
Yeah.
that's like my cap. I
Oh
can't do
man.
anymore.
I mean, yeah. And especially when they're on all different apps, like I can't do it. It's every app has its own rules and nuances. Like I forgot to take Greg Dulcich out of my IR spot. And I woke up Sunday and I couldn't make any moves on Sleeper. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna bug 8 different commissioners to like
Yeah.
I'm like, forget it. I'm like, I'll just wash it as an L. Like I'll take the hit. It doesn't even matter at this point.
Yeah, I know it's funny how similar but also different the apps are.
Yeah.
That's like how
Yeah.
I feel.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Alrighty, so everyone's filing in here. Good to see everyone. Roll call in the chat, guys. If you haven't said anything, everyone say hello, and you can introduce yourself. I know a lot of you already know her, but I'll let you start things off.
Yeah. For people that don't know me, Steffi Smalls, have my own show now, have bopped around a little bit, but independent as of now. Giants fan, cover the NFL, golf.
Why do you say it like that?
Yeah, come on. We all watch the game. Although I
Hey,
think Yeah.
Hey, that was fun though. Like at least
it was fun.
I have a question. Does it feel better to play in a game like that where you almost won, but how you lost, or would you rather it just be like a 21-point loss?
Yeah, here's the thing. I would rather see this team look like I want to watch football. So a lot of the games that we have played, you're not watching football. So I think yesterday everyone at least got to see what I've been talking about with this like I think they have a good defense that has been everyone's kind of overlooking it because of their offense, because of who they've played, but they have a tough defense. And I think that, you look at the back end of their schedule and I think the Giants will end up being, I mean, they're not a good team. I don't think they're going to be a good team by the time the season comes, but I think I mentioned to you when you were on the show too, I was waiting for after, the Bills game, that win total came down to 4.5. And I think if you look at their opponents moving forward, that's a little low for a team that, still needs to get their starting center back, still needs to get, Andrew Thomas, their left tackle back. They got Saquon back. You saw him not fully at, complete.
Yeah, he's not Saquon.
They're going to get pieces back. And I think, they still play the Commanders twice. They have, Packers. They've got some teams that I think that it's a little bit manageable. We saw how tough they can kind of be. But I worry about, some of the coaching and some of the calls. And you can't really do anything when it comes down to some of that.
Yeah, and like the Tyrod situation at halftime, I'm pretty sure he checked out of a pass play.
I could not believe my eyes. I watched it like 4 times and I fully do not understand. Like I cannot believe it. And
Tyrod shouldn't do that. Tyrod he's a vet in the league. Like he should know better.
My guy. What are we doing here?
Oh well, that was tough. Well, we could talk about the Giants and Broncos all show, but I think people would probably maybe people would actually like to hear it because they would just feel like, oh, you guys suck so bad. But maybe not. But we got to.
You can tune into my show where I complain about that as little as possible, but it ends up being a full,
Yeah, and I'll drop the link to the show at the end here.
I'll spare everyone first.
But yeah, let's talk about tonight's game because I think this is a pretty good matchup. I would say for primetime games. Now there have been a lot of good primetime games like on paper, and then some of them just haven't really panned out. But that's how it is sometimes, like primetime, little more variance, I guess, how maybe players play and things like that. But we have the spread sitting at basically 1 for the Cowboys. So Cowboys coming off a loss. What are your thoughts on this game with the Chargers at home, even though LA doesn't really give itself a home field advantage, and even in the NFL, like home field is pretty minimal to begin with, and we have a total at 49.5, 50. So I didn't get to catch your show today. So actually that's in a way that's actually good. I think it makes the conversation more organic. But what are your thoughts just on the side and total for this game?
Yeah, it's interesting. In my gut, I have this really bad feeling that we're going to get a very boneheaded Staley move today. Like I feel like
we're due for that.
I'm very nervous about it. I lean Dallas a little bit in this matchup here. You look at what Dallas has done as far as, since 2021 following a loss, their record against the spread straight up is ridiculous. They have a tendency to really be able to bounce back. I think we all saw what happened. While it was quite hilarious, they are in a situation to bounce back. This should be hypothetically the night that, hopefully they get Pollard going. I'm sure everyone's fantasy teams would also like that. So we'll see. It should be a good matchup. I kind of lean the under because everyone's so obsessed with the over here.
I know everyone's like, oh, Kellen Moore and Herbert and like Prescott bounce back. I've heard that like 20 times, like on the road. I wanted to ask you this. So Kellen Moore, obviously coming over from Dallas last season. Chargers more, the Cowboys more, or do we just treat it as like a wash? Like
you cut out just a little bit for me. Sorry.
Sorry. So Kellen Moore coming over from the Cowboys. Do we treat that like, does it favor the Chargers, favor the Cowboys in this game, or is it kind of a wash? Like
I kind of lean that it would favor the Chargers. I think the Chargers always play close. They're usually a nice, like a fun team to watch in primetime. But like I said, it's going to come down to Staley. And I think he's been flirting with getting himself in some serious trouble there with the front office. So it'll be interesting. I hate that I'm leaning the Cowboys in this matchup because I want to take the Chargers, but it's difficult for me.
So when Staley first came into the league, I feel like it was like a controlled aggressiveness with his play
Yeah.
calling, and it seems like he wasn't really making like those bonehead
No.
decisions. What do you think changed from like year one to is this his third or fourth year? Time flies, I know, but
I know. It's honestly, I feel like I don't even have a good answer for it. I don't know that anyone does. It seemed like he looked a little bit better, wasn't doing it as much. And then they got really lucky in that Vikings game. Probably should have lost that game there. So again, I always get nervous, and the Chargers are normally on my no bet list because you have to be a sick individual to like to bet on the Chargers because they do this a lot. They just play these close games and a lot of mistakes that make you want to kick yourself for taking them.
yeah, I feel you on that. But then it always like you'll bet on them, they'll fuck you over, and then
Yeah.
you'll forget about it, and then it comes back around, and you're like, well,
Mhm.
the Chargers look like a good play, and then it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're back to square one, and especially after a bye too, like you
Yeah.
kind of forget about all that, but it's
Right.
good to bring in. Oh yeah, I guess Staley's only since 2021.
God, it
Wait,
feels
it
so much.
wasn't 2020.
I thought it was too. God.
The 2020 like NFL season, I don't even like remember.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
weird.
blur. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah,
this year has been dragging on too. I can't
yeah.
remember what year it is.
Also, mods, if anyone is available, we can run some polls too as we go through the different categories. So your lean, you said, is the under, correct?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go with the under too as well. I think that's the decent play, and Cowboys defense I think will play better than we last saw, and I'm kind of curious to see what Eckler is gonna do today. I mean, I will assume he's close to 100%, but you just never know coming off an injury. So that's gonna be interesting to watch. But yeah, I'll lean with the under, and chat. I'm curious what you guys are on too for this one as well. So, in case you guys haven't joined before, we're going to go through each of the prop categories. We'll go with passing props first, and then I think we'll go with running back second, and then receiving props third, I guess rushing props, and then receiving props, and then we'll get into everyone's favorite, who's going to score a touchdown. Which this season, Steffi, I've been actually getting, I think, pretty lucky. I've hit some like pretty long shot ones. I hit Jake Bobo in week 2, and
Did
people are
you?
like, "Who the fuck is Jake Bobo?" And I'm like, "You'll find out very soon." Here.
Do you ever find yourself just like hovering over the names and then you're like, well, that sounds good? Because I almost like tonight, I almost tapped the Trey McKitty thing, but I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I wanted to though.
Wait, who was the tight end last night who caught one his first catch of the season for the Bills? You know that tight end?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
That was another one where I'm like,
I don't know why I can't think of him right now.
well,
That's so ridiculous.
probably because he never
I
plays.
also had it so much tequila. I was like, this is gonna be the worst game of my life. And it didn't end up being as bad as I thought.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh shit, I didn't come into this game acting like or
crap.
like guessing I'm gonna be nervous at the end of the game, like coming down to the wire.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the passing props. So
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up a few, and if anyone is available, mods, if you could make a poll, and if not, that's fine. You could put them in the chat either way. I'm just gonna look at Herbert and Dak, see what their numbers are at. So Dak for passing yards today is sitting at 253, 257 and a half. Interesting 4-yard difference on FanDuel and DraftKings. And then we have our boy Justin Herbert. Let's see. His brother actually scored a touchdown on Saturday for the Oregon Ducks. Yeah.
They have great hair, that family.
Oh yeah. They Pantene Provine hair for days. Actually that probably doesn't make sense. That's probably not even a good shampoo, huh? Whatever. 270 or 277 for Herbert. So he's definitely higher as far as that goes. So I don't know if you dove deep into the passing props. To be completely honest, I haven't dove as deep as I typically do. So sometimes it's even fun just to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Like Nick and I will do that where we like find stuff out where we're like, oh shit, that's a good look, or chat throws something in.
Yeah.
But is there a specific quarterback or a passing prop that you have been eyeing?
Yeah, I think that Dak line is pretty sharp. I think there's maybe an angle for the Chargers give up a lot of passing yards
They
to their
they
opponent,
do.
though. I think the most, maybe even in the league. My thing with Herbert too is there a scenario where we see a lot of this like check down type plays? So I get nervous about that number. I think you hear Herbert and it's very easy to want to smash the over. And I will be like the first one to admit I don't really play. I don't play a lot of the passing props. I think that those are some really sharp lines a lot of the time.
They are. They come down
Yeah.
like completion and passing attempts. I
Yeah.
swear the window, it's pretty good. Like they're pretty accurate.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And I think, and I always am the one when I do bet it, I'm like, why did I do this to myself? Like, there's no reason. And I think these teams too, we don't fully know the identity of some teams yet, which is crazy to say, like going into week 7, but there's still so much like volatility with a lot of these guys. You would think in theory, Dak should overcome what he went through last week. We saw what AJ Brown did when he complained. We saw what Jamar Chase did when he complained. So you would assume that he's going to be airing it out to CD a lot. So maybe lean the over with him, but I don't really like either. I don't love either of those numbers.
Yeah, it almost comes down to who's trailing in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And I feel like that quarterback's going to hit his number. And
yeah,
I don't know who that's going to be. I think this game is going to be pretty close. If we look at some of the kind of the one-off props, like interception props, for Dak, it's always fun to talk about.
Oh yeah.
You always are all over these interception props. Did you see anything that caught your attention? Because I know Dak is pretty juiced at minus like 140 for an interception.
And gosh, I miss the days when you used to get these really nice plus money numbers, but Vegas caught on a little bit earlier this year. I think Herbert is worth a look there. I think he's at even money last time I saw it. He's only thrown one this year, but that Dallas D is still, good despite whatever injuries. And they're still one of the best defenses in the league. I feel like last week you kind of have to try to look away from a little bit.
Yeah, it's almost like when Diggs got hurt and then what happened. It's almost like people have this notion that the defense is done for and all this. But yeah, interception wise, I think I could see Herbert throwing one because it almost seems like it's not going to happen, right? But I mean, Herbert takes shots. He's going to be airing the ball out. And you said that's a plus 100.
Yes,
that's not bad.
No, it's not. And sometimes a lot of these primetime games, I'll be honest, depending on who the quarterbacks are, and this kind of falls into that, I don't mind the idea of parlaying them together because we do see a lot of interceptions thrown during some of these primetime games. So sometimes if you can get a decent number on the parlay, I don't mind it. But yeah, the plus 100, I think Herbert, he's only had one this year. This game could get a little out of control where he's like, being a little bit riskier.
Yeah, and I mean, he has one of his better wide receivers. I think Mike Williams is out for the season, right? So you're probably going to have Quentin Johnston come in, who hasn't had as many reps.
No.
So you never know if like that can screw up some timing, or I mean, it takes one bad route where he goes the wrong way. Like we see that happen all the time in the NFL, where boom, like that's an interception, and now it's going to happen because I talked about it, which I'm fine with. I'll play the over there. Yeah, so that could be a situation, and I think I'm going to have to go with that as my favorite. I think that makes sense because the yardage props to me, they just seem really, really good. I'll look at longest completion.
I like that too.
Yeah, because Herbert's always a fun one.
There's a plus 102, a little bit over for the interception too.
Okay, Caesars, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I like his rushing yards and maybe his anytime touchdown because he is someone that tends to he gets more rushing touchdowns than I think people realize because you don't think of him immediately as this super mobile quarterback. But I think that number, at least when I took it, it was 10.5. I think I would assume it's moved. I don't know if it's like I'm being super sharp coming up with this. He's gone over it like 3 of his 4 last games, and I think it's like minus 110. But anytime touchdown, I wonder where that's at. It seems like that started to get a little popular, so I hate being the ones that take like plus 650 is not horrible. What's his first time? First is 35-1. That doesn't seem right. Some of these numbers don't really update, but yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah, and Herbert will, like you said, he will run, and he actually has like sneaky speed. It's more like when he decides to run, but I think he would, and it's always tough with like a pass rusher sometimes or speed like Michael Parsons. I always see two sides of it where it's like, one, if the quarterback's fast enough, will like he see the pressure coming and he can make a move, or is it he sees Michael Parsons coming and then he's fucked. He's not going anywhere. But I think he has enough speed that, I mean, all it takes is like one long rush. And what was it again? 12?
I think it was. I got it at 10.5. I'm sure that's moved. Let's see.
That's still not, I mean, 10, 12, not.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I would probably take it up to like 14.5, maybe even.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's not it's not a bad look too. But yeah, let's just hop into the rushing props since we're kind of talking about it. So we have Eckler coming back. The thing with him in this offense, and like this is kind of the construct of this offense, which sometimes I just don't know if it's suitable to win this way. Like they're a pass first offense, and their run game just never really is like a stable part of the offense, and it hurts them at times. Sometimes they get away with it because they can, have Herbert pick apart a defense on 3rd and 5 and 3rd and short, things like that. But Austin Eckler, let's talk about him first. So let me pull up his rushing numbers. He is sitting at 50.5, which seems low, but it makes sense, right? Like what I just mentioned. And then also coming off injury too. Do you have anything with that one as far as a lean goes?
I will say I did fade Eckler. I thought to look at his receptions, but I don't think I loved the number when I did look at it because he is kind of that prototypical receiving back and he gets a lot of receiving work. But I mean, again, like it feels like, at least on Twitter, and you can correct me if you didn't see it like this, but everyone seems to be very much on the same plays tonight. And I hate when that happens. And it's very easy for me to be like, I don't know if I can do it now. I probably lean the over. I don't think that Eckler is a player that would risk playing if he wasn't at full health. But again,
I don't think so either.
Yeah. But then you look at even guys like Saquon last night. What is like a Saquon on the field at like 60% health versus 100% health? So that's probably baked into that line quite a bit.
And then you also have this other side of the coin. I'm not trying to get like a conspiracy theorist, but it's like the players themselves are telling the staff that they're healthier or better than they actually are. Because like a sprained ankle's, wait, is it an ankle with him? Maybe. Am I wrong on that?
So at this point, there's so many injuries that
I can't keep
my injuries
because if it's a sprained ankle, it's really tough for like the trainers to identify like it's worse than it actually is, unless there's like severe pain and like he's like, I'm fine, and he's like, grimacing. It's not like a structural thing. So like I'm not saying that like Eckler's lying about how healthy he is to play, but you never know because he's a guy he's trying to make a contract or get a contract. So it's always something just to consider because, I mean, these players want to be out there, especially if you're not on like a guaranteed big ass contract.
Yeah.
So I would probably lean under there, but I think with an like Austin Eckler, unless the number's like super short, you got to go with rushing and receiving if you want to play an over, because 100%. I've seen those games where he gets like 12 catches and goes for like 80 yards and they barely use him as a running back out of the backfield for rushing purposes. So that would have to be my lean there. Let's talk about Pollard, who you mentioned. He's been kind of quiet this season, which has been a little surprising, but a lot of the games just got out of hand. Which is one way or another, right? They've been down and won, and then a few they were just up a lot. So they really haven't had time to get him the ball as much as they would like. Let's see here. I'm trying to find the number. Dude, where is it?
Let me see.
Oh, there it is. Rushing. Boom. Okay.
68.5.
Yeah, 68, 69, 60, 70-ish. It seems high, but man, this could be doesn't it feel like this is the game? Like last time we were on a show together, I was like, I think it's Travis Kelce's day, and jokingly I was saying that, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I wish I had more like supporting arguments for that versus it was just like, when you're like he's due, and then you're like, someone's like why, and you're like, shit, I don't.
Because I said so.
Yeah, that's legit how I felt with Travis Kelce, and it came through. And it was also because the Broncos literally have no clue how to guard tight ends. I don't know, like, why do they practice that? I don't know what's going on there. But anyways, Tony Pollard. I mean, he hasn't. I guess he had one game against the Cardinals, but it took him 23 attempts to get 122 yards, which is still a really good game.
Yeah.
But we've seen him in the past break those 40, 50-yard runs, and then, it's like 11 for 100. Do you think we could get one of those tonight?
Yeah, and I think, too, I'm pretty sure Pollard was a little bit banged up at the end of the year last year, and I don't know if he's still kind of, like, getting back into the groove of it or what it is. But in theory, the one thing that we know about the Chargers D is they're really not that great against the run, and they're very like susceptible to these type of backs. So I actually leaned Pollard's reception over, and he's only gone over it like twice this year. But I think the attempt will be to get Pollard involved. What he makes of it, that I can't guarantee, but the Chargers are allowing like the 26 most yards per carry in the league. So again, like, the opportunity should be there. I just don't feel confident. And I don't know why. I've been a little bit just like a scared baby about some of these lately. I'm like, I want to smash the over. I'm not going to do it. And I'm like, I'll take the receptions. But plus 114, 3.5 receptions, like 4 really shouldn't be hard.
Well, I feel the same way with overs because it, like, this is me personally. Yeah. Instead of just like immediately, oh yeah, I like it. Then I'm like, okay, well, Pollard, he has been hurt, has been iffy, and then I start questioning myself. Yeah. But sometimes it's just that easy where it's like, hey, good matchup, he should get good volume, should be a good spot, right? And I think for me, it checks those boxes. So, maybe a lot of people are on it, but yeah, I mean, this is one that even if they're down, he could already hit, and then if they're up with the game script, then you feel really good about hitting.
Yeah.
My only reservation is just, a running back getting hurt, but at this point it's they have been getting hurt, but you just cross your fingers. Yeah. There were so many injuries yesterday. That was tough.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, every 20 seconds someone was hurt.
Yeah. I was like, shit. I was really happy I didn't do any daily fantasy like million makers, because I would have been pissed. Like, if the worst for me is there's like 5 years ago I had a really good lineup and someone got hurt in the like second quarter and I got a goose egg and I still like was in the money, and I'm like, what would have been, and that's what another reason why best ball is fun, but also it can fuck you with best ball too.
Yeah.
You get cluster 100%. Injuries, and
it's
like
sure.
GG's on that. Dak under rushing. Let's talk about that real quick, and then we'll jump into receiving props. But let me pull up Dak.
Yeah, what is
can you pull up what he had last game?
Yeah,
I feel like it was going to be really low because
I know he hasn't. I feel like I have been avoiding it for a reason. Let's see. So where are we at here? He's
at 12.5, 10.5, by the way.
Okay. Yeah, he had 13, 28, 18 the last. He's been running a little bit more since the start of the season. But that's probably because he hasn't been playing like as good as,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, do you have a theory of like what he's struggling with, or like why he isn't playing well, or is it just like, is it a long time coming and maybe you have felt that way?
I think we also like sometimes things are just what they are. And I think that Mike McCarthy is a bad coach. Like, I've felt that way for a little, I won't say bad coach. I think that that's slightly dramatic. I don't think he's the best play caller. I think that there'd be better options that Dak is more suited for. I think the OC leave, like there was a little bit of changes. I also think there's a piece of this, and even my Cowboys friends, so no one needs to come at me, but I think Dak needs like to get a little slice of like humble pie a little bit. Like he needs to just like realize that it sometimes is like his fault. I don't know. So I don't want to talk to, I think the media goes after Dak, and I still think Dak is a good quarterback. I think it's a little overrated the way that people pile in on him. But yeah, I think a lot of changes, and then, you know, a lot of relying on guys that are no longer there. They lost like some significant players that Dak's had for a majority of his career.
Yeah. And I know people will say, well, like Ezekiel Elliott was, you know, past his prime, and that could be true, but you know, they lost Schultz too. Like you never know how, you know, one thing can just kind of sway everything. And also Kellen Moore leaving, like that could have been a big part of things. Like, you know, Kellen Moore, I think people forget he wasn't the best NFL quarterback, but he has some really good college records as far as like passing goes. Like people respect the shit out of him. So having a guy like that who has played and can relate, it really goes a long way. And, you know, that could also be something too. Yeah. The offense for the Cowboys has looked pretty vanilla, I would say.
Yeah. Unless they're playing the Giants.
Yeah. And then they just bust everything out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about receiving props. So we talked a little bit about Eckler. We talked about Pollard. I mean, obviously those are two easy candidates. I mean, Eckler, I want to see what his number's at. I just know that it's going to be so high, and
I know.
I almost want to do receptions over receiving yards. I guess 33.5 isn't terrible, but 4.5 receptions. And the thing with him is he will have those games where he gets so many dump downs and he gets like 2 yards and like goes back -2 and then gets 3, and all of a sudden it's like 5 for 16, and you're like, oh shit, I should have played his receptions. So anything there, and then we'll talk about Quentin Johnston.
Yeah, I think with Eckler, there's not going to be an in-between. Like, he's either going to go off this game, and I'm going to regret not betting him 2 touchdowns and over every number that I could find, or he's going to be a little bit more quiet, and, you know, some of these unders are going to hit. So, you know, receptions is interesting. But again, like, that's a sharp line.
It is. Yeah. I think I'm leaning with his over 4.5, but it just
What's the number at?
It's -130, so it's just kind of a lean. I mean, I wish it wasn't so juiced. His reception and then his receiving yards, 30.5, but again, it's just risky with how they utilize him. And I'm also okay. So let's talk about Quentin, because this was a guy coming into the season that I feel like I was on an island with, as far as like this guy is not going to be as big of an impact as everyone thinks he will be. And I definitely got some heat for it. But at the same time, like now he has that opportunity with the injury. I still don't think his talent is there as far as like JSN goes or Addison. I feel like those guys are still like in their own class. But he could get a lot of opportunity tonight because they're coming off a bye. He's a young wide receiver. He's a rookie.
Yeah.
Are you like buying the narrative that coming off the bye, maybe they have tried to come up with some schemes and plays that get him more involved? Or you feel like this could be a trap where everyone is thinking that way and then he does exactly what he has been doing?
God, yeah. I'm looking at it now. I didn't realize it was as bad as I thought. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's like it's both him not being on the field, but it's also like I think the advanced numbers are like he literally is not getting open. So
it also seems like he must be, and this was a problem. You can correct me if I'm mistaken. Didn't he have a problem with drops too? Because it looks like here, like he's getting more targets than he's actually coming down with the ball here. So I wonder if a little bit is like, I want to say
he had one drop
like him getting involved. Yeah, him getting involved makes sense. I probably lean towards maybe playing him. God, have you noticed that the touchdown numbers suck this year? Like, I think that the public just has started hammering these. They're so bad. They make it not fun at all. It sucks.
Like it's like, plus money or minus. Yeah. It's like CMC -200. You're like,
crazy.
all right.
Great. Yeah. Any good player is basically like even Johnson, who's he hasn't been getting the ball. He's plus 300 to get a touchdown. Like that doesn't feel like great value for a guy that hasn't really been involved.
It's like,
So,
give me plus 300 to catch the ball. Like, what are we doing?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. His longest reception's an interesting one. So 15 and a half. He went over that. I think his long last week was like 18, 20, somewhere between there. Maybe longest reception. And maybe I don't know if the games this last week kind of threw me off a little bit where I'm nervous and I want to lean all unders, but I think I probably would lean like a longest reception. He might be fun for a first touchdown bet too. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there with Quentin. But it's just like I think if anything, I know people may not like this, but I would maybe I'm talking myself out of this, but I'm looking at his receptions more than anything because he is kind of a possession receiver. Like he does have a little bit of a deep threat capability, but like the intermediate routes, he's not that speedy, Keenan Allen quick cut guy.
No.
Like he's either gonna run like they'll do a little bubble screen with him. Can get physical, try to break one, or maybe a go, but I just don't see him having as much say in the offense. But at the same time, it is a little speculative because we don't know like what they were doing during this bye week. So
what's his receptions at? I don't see them.
It's 2.5, but it's minus 140. So it's kind of juiced.
Yeah. I would almost like, if you like him tonight, like I would probably look at playing some of his like alt lines. I think that would be the way to do it. So because he either gets involved or he's going to have kind of the games that we've been seeing out of him.
That's kind of how I feel with Eckler too. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, maybe we cook up a crazy SGP here at the end. But I think for me, some of the other receivers are interesting for the Cowboys. Go give us what you like.
Okay, not correlated to Colorado State having this crazy win, but Gallup over 2.5 receptions is kind of nice. I think that you saw him getting more targets. Again, didn't have as much success coming down with them, but I kind of like the idea of Gallup being involved this game.
I could see it too. Like we go back to what we were saying, and like this offense looks a little different.
Yeah.
There's a few new pieces, right? But Gallup is one of those players who he was there even before CeeDee Lamb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So primetime game, maybe he's incorporated a little bit more. And like I think for Dak, his struggles with the passing game and specifically interceptions, like you want to throw the ball to a guy who you can trust to run crisp, consistent, nice routes. He's going to be there. That actually might be a pretty good look. I may be on board there.
Yeah, even like
2.5.
Yeah,
I'm sure. 3.5.
Did it move?
Was it? It was 2.5, but
2.5. Yeah, I got it at 2.5.
So it was probably like minus 120 or something.
Yeah, it
like
was
that.
something. Where I have it. Yeah, I think
it was 3.5 at plus 154 isn't bad either. Like I know it's one more, but at least it's plus money.
Yeah, like I don't know. And this is again, like we kind of said, where you just say someone's due. Like I could totally see him scoring the first touchdown. Like that would not shock me at all.
Well, you might have to do it now because Nick and I, whenever we say something like that, I'm always like, oh man, if it happens now,
and then
we don't bet it. Yeah. 22-1 on first TD, by the way.
Kind of nice.
Yeah, that is kind of nice. What about CeeDee Lamb? Like, he's kind of had a weird season so far.
I know. And again, like I said earlier, when these guys have been complaining, we're seeing that it works out for them. But then I feel like people are again putting like too much emphasis on that and now expecting the games that we saw out of Chase,
he was complaining. I think I missed that one. Was it after the game?
I don't even remember. I can't even keep up with
some of them. I remember. He did do something on the sideline, but
he was like pouting on the sidelines, which again, I think these things like people really blow out of proportion. Like I get pissed off too. And sometimes I don't want to be around people. Even Giants fans, like they drag Thibodeau through the mud for sitting on the other side because I'm like, the team's getting their ass kicked. The kid's pissed. He hasn't got a sack yet. Like, give these guys a break for a second. Like we're lucky they're not punching people.
I know. I think people forget like how physical like football is. Like,
yes,
I think of it like getting hit like the other day, my dog like took out my legs, and I played football back in the day. Sometimes I forget where I'm like, oh shit, that was a pretty hard hit, but that's only 100-pound dog who took out my leg. Like these fuckers are going up against each other every play, and then they come off the field, and you expect them to like be happy and hug each other on the side. No,
especially when they're getting their ass beat. Like I wouldn't be happy either.
They're on TV and they're probably on some painkillers that maybe are making them a little weird.
Your quarterback is throwing his third pick. Like I'd be pissed too.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Maybe it's a good thing that they argue or are mad they're not getting the ball, because if not, you're like, do you even care?
Right, 100%.
Like Russ, sometimes I'm like,
yeah,
you care enough?
I don't know. That guy is something else.
Yeah. So CD, let's see what he's at. Receptions, I'm gonna guess 5.5. You said 78.
His yards 71.5. Some 70. There's
71.
5.5. Yeah, the receptions there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I like Gallup more. What about tight ends? We haven't talked about any tight ends. Is there anyone you think is worth talking about?
Parham is interesting. I know everyone loves Ferguson. Again, seems like a very popular play. I used to love betting tight ends in prime time, and I haven't been loving it as much as of late.
Well, that got too mainstream too. I feel like guys like Travis Kelce and Kittle are ruining it.
Yeah. I know.
Like National Tight End Day and like all those things, and now it's like the sneaky touchdown prop for a tight end. I feel like isn't really there as much.
I wonder what's that other that tight end on Dallas, Schoonmaker. I wonder what he is.
Oh, Schoonmaker. Does he have a touchdown yet this season? He's the rookie.
I don't know, but now I have to look to score the first touchdown. I see a 50-1 out there.
Oh man.
Those are the type of guys I like to bet on first touchdown, because it's always the name of the guy that's like, oh shit, why didn't we think of that? What has he done?
He's getting snaps. I just don't know if they're targeting him enough, but he is a rookie, so it's to be expected a little bit.
And I usually look at red zone targets, but I didn't get that deep into this game. I had a very emotional night last night.
I could imagine. I was getting emotional too, and I didn't even have it. I had like no action on the game, and I'm like, shit. My mom came over to watch our little baby, and my mom's like, "Did you see that game last night?" And I was like, "Yeah." I don't think anyone was expecting it to be close, right?
Yeah.
So, oh wait, what it's 1,000-1 anytime touchdown.
Is it?
Hold on, I'm gonna pull up. I want to pull up his targets and.
Why did his name just randomly pop? See, when this happens, I'm like, I don't know.
I know, and then you'll have like 5 catches, and we'll be like, oh, we were talking about him. Let's see here.
And then I'll feel
he's solid. It's not just like he's just a good blocker. Like
really?
Okay. Yeah, it's just how are they utilizing him is the only thing I worry about. But it looks like he's been like Jake Ferguson, of course. He's the starter, 70% of snaps, but then Schoonmaker had 41, so they're obviously running those 2 tight end sets. He had 20 snaps last game. Last game was weird but the week before I think is a better like sample because week 5 was out of control. He had 40 snaps. He was on the field over half of the possessions. So let's see the targets.
It looks like
his targets are low, but
they're low, but he got that target. It must have been just in the end zone because
in week 4 he had 2 red zone targets. So
I'm tempted.
That's not a bad look. I mean, look, a guy like this, it's for sure like a long shot, but that's fun. You sprinkle it, it hits, great. If not, move on to the next one. Yeah. Okay, let's continue on the touchdown market. Chat, let us know if you guys have anything for the touchdown market. Let's see here. Did we just get rated? We got rated by good old Chele. What up, Chelly? Chelly and his Raiders, man. Oh, Steph, I was on the Patriots +3, and I swear, in the back of my mind before that shit, I was like, I bet fucking Mac Jones is gonna get sacked. And the play before that,
oh my God.
he was about to get sacked. They called a timeout, and of course, sack in the end zone is 2 points. And then we had fucking Gesicki out there looking like a rag doll trying to block him with a chip block.
I can't. And he's one of my favorite players ever. I don't know what it is. I just cannot stand that.
You know, Chelly and Trent ran into him in Vegas, and they were drinking bottles. Yeah, back in like 2021. There's a picture on Twitter floating around.
Yeah, and not a fan.
Yeah. So appreciate you, Chelly. Chelly, what do we got for hockey, man?
Yeah.
Oh, I know. We're on Bedard. You've been hearing all the Bedard talk, right?
Yeah.
I know you're not a hockey capper, but you can't escape his name.
No,
he's been hot.
And anytime I ask for I'll just ask my followers oh, what do you like tonight? And it's like, I was talking about football. Stop giving me hockey, please.
Right. My biggest pet peeve, which it's not their fault, but it's when the hockey guys give out a name, and I'm like, what team is he on? So I have to Google, and I'm spelling the name wrong. I'm pulling up guys from 1997.
Oh yeah,
play with the Nordiques, and I'm like, that's not a team anymore. I'm like, Chelly, what team is this guy on? And then there's some brothers too. I fucked up with the Chuck brothers. I played the wrong one.
Oh my God.
And I lost. Yeah. Everyone's all happy celebrating. And I'm like, he has 2 shots on goal. And then the other guy had 6. And I'm like, oh my God. So
it's actually really funny.
But that's on me. I mean, that's me for just, if you're gonna bet on something, you can't put it on someone else. You're still the one opening the app, putting it in.
Yeah. No one is forcing you.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciate you, Chelly. Touchdown props, guys.
Yeah.
We have 140 of you in here now, so let's hear. We can do this. Everyone loves the first touchdown prop. I'm not the biggest fan of those because it's really hard to kind of predict.
Right.
But they are fun when they hit, because it's obviously a pretty good payout. Should we do Schoonmaker 50-1?
I think we have to, right? I feel obligated.
That's you could put you could put $1 on that. Just say, boom, $50. That's a good payday. Put $10, it's 500.
God, you know, it's kind of tempting too. I can't believe I'm saying this. Wait, what's Tolbert doing? You know what's kind of tempting is these defenses. I don't know what my problem is, but I keep liking to bet them to score.
Because this year the quarterbacks have just not played as well. I have no clue why it is, but across the league there's been some shitty quarterback play, and it's leading just to more strip sacks.
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing the interceptions. You get a pick 6 in this game.
And in theory, if I think these guys can throw an interception, it's not the worst idea to maybe take one of the D's.
Yeah.
Or it is.
Make sure it's a defense and special teams, because Chelly actually fucked up on that week 1. He was like, wait a second. Why didn't the special
It's so annoying.
That really is annoying that they do it that way, because it's
didn't they fix it the next week too?
I think so, but then they adjusted it, and it's just okay, now it's where it should be.
I think the Herbert anytime. I think there's a +700 still. I think that's really worth a look still too.
Is Darius Davis still returning kickoffs and punts and stuff?
That's a great question.
Because there's that, and then also I guess that was more so when Eckler was out, but he's they've been putting him in just little formations and gadget plays, but he has the speed, and I thought he had a touchdown. Am I tripping on that? I thought he had one.
You might not be. Was it during? I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe I'm looking at receiving props. Maybe he doesn't have a touchdown.
It sounded right. I was ready to roll with you there.
He had a 51-yard play, but I don't think he scored. So maybe I thought he. But still, I mean, he's not a bad look. But then you take a look at it, and it's like, 12, I guess 12-1 if you shop around. That's not bad. But then you have like BetMGM has plus 600. I'm like, wait a second. We have a 12-1 and then a 6-1 on the same prop.
So crazy.
Yeah, and of course, no under touchdowns. That's why they're getting away with this shit, because they're only offering a one-sided market and they can get away with these bad lines. So that's kind of annoying. I might sprinkle on Darius Davis at 12-1.
And what about Turpin? He's scored this year, right? 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I think Turpin has 1, maybe.
He does. That was what, last week?
Oh, who was telling me that there's a player from like Inglewood who's coming back home? Who was? Chat, do you guys know who I'm talking about?
I bet the chat is much brighter.
Yeah. I remember seeing this like early in the week, and then I'm like, oh, that's a hell of a narrative play. I'm a sucker for those sometimes, because more than not, they happen a lot. Like Swift coming back to, where was it? Was that just Philly? His first game, and then they gave him like 30 touches, and you're like, oh, he's back home, like in front of this crowd, and then it happens quite a bit. I was trying to remember, is it Josh Kelly? You know, it's going to be funny. We're going to be watching the game, and then it's going to be like,
exactly.
Oh, he's back home, and then he's going to score a touchdown, and we're going to be like, damn it.
Yeah, I always feel so stupid when I can't think of it. God, what about
chat? Someone just posted on Twitter that Eckler got in a fight pregame and is questionable.
Oh my God.
Can we investigate?
What is with like? I get it, and I actually love the like passion, and I think it's awesome, because I think that we should make football violent again. But like,
it's like,
chill out. Like he got punched in the head.
It's like, oh no, he just got punched in the head. I'm like, oh, is that?
Nah, he's good. His head's fine.
Oh wait, hold on. This is actually, I actually see. Oh no, that's just talk. I feel like this is some cap.
Is it?
I'm not seeing anything.
I'm literally typing in an Austin Eckler punch.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
I am on Twitter.
I don't see.
You guys are trolling.
I feel like we're getting.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I see. He got in a fight. Like, okay. It was a skirmish. It looks like on the field with the Cowboys. I mean, I think he's probably okay. Oh, there's like a.
Is it? Okay, now I'm interested.
Okay, I'm gonna tag you in it right now. There's a coach who got. I think he got punched in the head. He looks like he's okay, but maybe they're watching too many videos of the fans fighting, and they're like, whoa.
Or they just watched, what was it? That was the 49ers game, right?
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, shit.
It's so funny though, because what occurs with like, they're so ready to kick guys out and like give penalties and stuff, and everyone's just like brawling before the game.
I know, it's like, well, if we do it before the game, the refs can't do shit.
That's funny. Who started it though? Because maybe we could do. Did the Cowboys
like a revenge play here or something?
I might have to be on the Chargers then, because isn't that what happened with the Browns yesterday?
Yeah, that is true. Okay, hold on. I think we figured it out. Joshua Kelly, I think, is the one from.
That must be why people are on him, because he was another one that I was seeing a lot on
Twitter. I could kind of see, but then it's like he plays there already, so it's not like it's, the only time he's out there. So that narrative maybe doesn't hold up as much.
Yeah, people like to act like this isn't like their home stadium, like it still is at the same time.
Yeah, we're leaning with the under. That's kind of the lean that at least both of us were on. We have about 10 minutes. Do you want to cook up a little SGP for kicks and giggles?
Let's do it.
I can either do, FanDuel, probably FanDuel or DraftKings these days just have the most.
FanDuel.
Okay, let's see here. So I like that at times to get a little crazy. I know I've sent you a few, but we don't
Yeah,
have
I
to. We
loved one of
don't.
them the other day. I'm like, it makes sense in my head. This
Yeah,
adds up.
like we don't have to make it like 200 to 1 or whatever. But
Yeah.
let's just kind of talk through a few.
Okay.
Because I do like the
Okay.
alt lines too, like what we were saying with Pollard,
Yeah.
maybe an Eckler alt line. Like I'm okay with throwing some of those in versus just their
100%.
because it makes a lot of sense. Like Eckler, I just don't see the value in playing just a static over.
No.
Okay, so let's see here. If we start with the under and play some overs on props, like the full game under,
Okay.
and I've done a lot of playing around with this. Like the odds actually go up pretty good in your favor. If we like start with an under and then want to play some over props. So if we put an under in on the full game, and let's take a look at some other props.
Where is?
Let's see here.
What's that going on here?
So Pollard alt, you could go 50, 60, 70, 80. It just sucks. Like even at 80, it's plus 122. You go over 100, it's plus 235.
What's his? Do they have an alt for his? Where's his
Receiving?
They don't have his reception on.
Yeah. They have his receiving yards, but not reception. Gallup.
Okay.
Let's see here.
His reception. See, that seems like value to me.
So receptions.
Yeah. Well, what is it? The line is at. So 5 is plus 250. It's a little high. What did I say I got it at? Oh, so that's move. So it was 2.5.
I mean, I still don't hate 3.5.
I don't either.
What about 36 yards? Like, do you like that better than 3.5? Ooh, alt receptions.
Gosh.
You could still play 3, and then it's minus 186.
You could.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm gonna throw that in. I just want to see what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the.
It's not that it doesn't do anything.
It's just dumb. You just never know sometimes. You have to put it in to see. Well, let's see here. What do you guys like?
Yeah.
Under touchdown for Pollard. You can get real crazy and play like they're under touchdowns, but over like rushing yards. And
yeah,
it's almost like you cheat the system because they think that those are so negatively correlated, but they're really not. You know, if you get down there and just don't, hand it off,
right,
it happens often.
What is Pollard? Yeah, there's no.
So what was what would you say your favorite prop is tonight as a whole?
I think as a whole, it's either I do like Herbert's rushing number, but it looks like it's a little bit more on here. But I said I would play it up too. Between that, I do like the Gallup receptions. I do. I can't.
Okay, let's put that in there then. What about this? What if we do Justin Herbert alt rushing over 25.5?
That's spicy.
And I'm fine taking the heat on that if he goes over his regular number.
Yeah.
And doesn't hit that because I think we've seen it before. He'll break one of those, 20, 25 yard runs.
Yeah.
We've seen it time and time again. Let's do that. So
okay. That's a nice number there too.
Yeah, I don't hate that. So then
that already brings up plus 708.
I know. Fuck yeah.
That's awesome.
Let's go. Take that, FanDuel. You're scheming with the touchdown props, but we'll come back for you.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And then we go to receiving and Gallup.
Yeah, let's see.
So Gallup, I think now though will be good because
do you like his receptions or his yards better, you think?
Let me see what it does. So if I do receptions at just 3. That's not terrible.
That's not terrible at all.
Yeah, I mean it's the third leg, so
What's his
12 to 1 on that parlay.
Where is his Gallup receiving?
You go to 4, it's almost 20 to 1.
If you do 40 plus yards, it gets up to almost 17 to 1. But I feel like his yards are a little bit riskier.
Let's do either 3 receptions or 4 receptions. If you do 3, it's 12 to 1. If you do 4, it's 18 to 1. But I'm fine with either. Like
I think let's do the 3.
Okay. Do 3 and then that's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
Like we don't have to get too crazy.
No, it's really not.
We're like, yeah, we got 100 to 1, and it's like, well, it's 100 to 1 for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Sometimes I see these people hit some of these, and I'm like, were you just pushing buttons? Like, there's no way that you weren't just pushing buttons to get that.
Exactly. I mean, to be honest, my friend sent me this one. It was like the first half result, full game result, and then he parlayed it with some random rushing prop. And I'm like, what the fuck made you want to play that? And it actually ended up being a pretty good bet because it hit, but it's just funny sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll play overtime like all the time. It's so stupid, but it's a fun bet. Like, and
perfect.
Yeah.
There's Heisenberg. There it is. This comes out to let's see. Yeah, 7 or it's 12 to 1.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. I'm gonna lock this in.
Love it. Me too.
I'm glad we did that because this game I just was light on as far as like any conviction. Like a lot of the primetime games this year, I've actually done pretty well on and felt decent going into it. But this one I was just like a little cautious. Just I don't know if it's because of Eckler, because he can really just screw up like the game if he's what he typically is and is super healthy. It could just be an Eckler day, but if he's not, then it could just turn into a game where they're not running the ball. And then also Quentin Johnson, I still don't know what the hell he's going to do.
Yeah. And I feel like we still don't know the full landscape of what Dallas's offensive identity is at all. Surprisingly, I thought we would know a little bit more. All we really know is that they haven't been great at establishing the run and Dak has been throwing the ball away. So, I don't know. This game, I wasn't super excited. It should be a good game though, hopefully. But yeah.
Okay, let me I'm gonna pull up your YouTube, so I can drop that in the chat. Yeah, you just hit 1,000 subs. Congrats. That's a good milestone because you just started the page basically for football season, right?
Yeah, I started it like 2 months ago, just before basically.
You're like, people, I've been talking about football for years now. Don't get it fucking twisted now.
Yeah, come on now. I got to deal with enough BS. I got the Taylor Swift clan on my ass. I can't take any more right now.
They're relentless. I'd rather have like the mafia on my ass than them because they don't quit. Like they don't sleep. No. Like they wake up and they probably set an alarm that's like send that tweet to Steffi.
Yeah.
Like that's
they got really like it was hilarious because I didn't do much this weekend. I finally had a weekend off and I get this random notification. I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? And then it's just like they were all piling on.
You also do stream on Twitch, but you're not reading comments and stuff as much. It's YouTube's kind of the main.
Yeah, page. I see them when they're there, and my producer will pull them up. But yeah, got to lean into the Twitch thing a little bit more.
Nice, cool. So yeah, we got the SGP fired up, and then you're live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Is that right?
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. And then I'll start getting some short form stuff up. But again, you know what it's like starting a channel and stuff. I'm like, let me get one thing down, then we'll start easing into some other stuff.
Yeah, I know. There's always so much, especially golf too, because golf is just like every week, right? It's just,
I know,
but it's fun. Like
it is fun, and the fall isn't quite as enticing, and then football starts, so it's hard to like stay into it. I haven't been talking about it as much, but still placing my own bets because I'm in a season-long fantasy golf team.
Oh, was the joke about Taylor Swift about the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Why were they so like weird? Like
I
it's
don't
not
know.
like
And also, like, first of all, it's obviously a joke. Like, and no one is believing me. And I guess that's more if you don't follow me on Twitter and you don't really get my sarcasm and my humor and stuff.
yeah.
But I was just so sick of it's annoying to hear time and time again. And it's so funny because I even talked about that on my show. I've probably seen Taylor Swift more than half of these, more than half, like 60% of these Swifties, but I'm just not fucking weird about it. Like they make it like their identity. I don't understand. Like you can like her without it. She doesn't read your comments. What are you defending? Like
I know it's not like she's gonna like go to battle and like
yeah.
That someone told me that one time. They're like, there's like a level to it where you have just people who are super passionate about like
Yeah.
whether it's like a pop culture figure or whatever, but there can be a line where you cross where it's like now you're obsessive with how
Yeah.
and it's like make that your identity. Like I have no problem with like the Swifties as a whole, but
Yeah.
there are a few where I'm like, yeah, you guys just you need to tone it down.
Some of these accounts, I'm just like, one of them was like tweeting about like how Kelsey had like a little bit of lipstick like on his lip and like they just like take it like way too far. I'm like, what do you do? And a lot of them are probably very young, I would imagine. But they didn't want me. I don't even know how they think I'm monetizing. Like, because I
yeah, exactly.
It, like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, like I'm not trying. It's not like you woke up and you're like, I'm gonna make, $10 on an
I can
post.
guarantee you, Taylor Swift did not see my tweet. Like I literally promise. I promise everyone.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Okay, so we're gonna raid the Book It page. I think they're sweating out the game. 5 seconds here, but yeah, best of luck with the bets.
Cool.
Should be a fun game. We got the SGP fired up. So one more time, it's just right there on the stream. So fire that up. We got that on FanDuel, and yeah, best of luck. Appreciate you once again for joining us, and yeah, we'll have you on soon, and I'm sure I'll be back on sooner than later. So we'll see you later.
You're always the best. All right, see ya.
Awesome, see ya.